Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and stand up and face the east.
This is what you're saying. That's you.
All right, we're just going to do the Hebrew Credo here. Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad. Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad. Shema Yasha Allah Ahaya Alahaya Nawa Ahaya Akkad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord the Ahaya, our God is one. All right, Shabbat. Be seated. All right. Okay, so we're going to go to Exodus, the 20th chapter here. All right. Exodus, the 20th chapter. Let's get there. Before we get started, just a reminder, if you have any children, there needs to be some supervision over them in the rooms. There shouldn't be anyone's children in rooms that are without their parents, because the program is not set up for that yet. Make sure that's done. And we'll deal with some other stuff later when we done the stream here. So, Exodus 20. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Most High thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them. For I, the higher the power and my jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children into the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and show mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of a high thy power in vain. For Most High will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of High, that in it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days I have made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Most High blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Most High thy power giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not Ahai speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said unto the people, Fear not, for Ahai has come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your faces, that ye sin not. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near to the thick darkness where Ahai was. And the Most High said unto Moses, Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, Ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. Ye shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall ye make unto me gods of gold. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone. If thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon. All right. So we're going to turn to Numbers, the 12th chapter. We're going to have our readers come forward.
Shabbat Shalom, our family. I'm Brother Abadia. This is Numbers 12 and 1. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, Hath the Lord indeed spoken only by Moses? Hath he not spoken also by us? And the Lord heard it. Now the man Moses was very meek above all men, all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And the Lord spake suddenly unto Moses, and unto Aaron, and unto Miriam, Come out, ye three, unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. And the Lord came down in the pillar of the cloud, and stood in the door of the tabernacle, and called Aaron and Miriam. And they both came forth.
Shabbat Shalom. Brother Piyah, House of Israel, tribe of Judah, verse 6. And he said, Hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Most High, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of the Most High shall he behold. Wherefore, then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? And the anger of the Most High was kindled against them, and he departed. And the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous.
Brother Watt, tribe of Issachar, nation of Israel. Numbers chapter 12, verse 11. And Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he cometh out of his mother's womb. And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, Heal her now, O Most High, I beseech thee. And the Lord said unto Moses, If her father had put spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after let her be received in again. And Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days, and the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again. And afterwards the people removed from Hazeroth and pitched in the wilderness of Paran.
My name is Chris. I'm from the tribe of Judah, the house of Israel. We're reading from chapter 13, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Send thou men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I have gave unto the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall ye send a man, every one a ruler among them. And Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, of the Most High, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel. And these were their names: the tribe of Reuben, Shemuah, the son of Zechar; of the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat, the son of Hori.
brother of Rob, tribe of Judah, Yasharallah. This is Numbers chapter 13, verse 6. Of the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh. Of the tribe of Issachar, Igal the son of Joseph. Of the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea the son of Nun. Of the tribe of Benjamin, Palti the son of Rahu. Verse 10. Of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel the son of Sodi.
Shalom. Of the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel the son of Sodi. Tribe of Joseph, namely of the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi the son of Susi. Of the tribe of Gad, Emil the son of Jemali. Of the tribe of Asher, Sahur the son of Michael. Of the tribe of Naphtali, Nabi the son of Boshi.
Shalom, Yasharallah. Akdabar, tribe of Judah. Numbers chapter 13, verse 15. Of the tribe of Gad, Gero, the son of Michael. Verse 16. These are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses came to Hoshea, the son of Nun, Joshua. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get you up this way, southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds. Verse 20. And what the land is, whether it be fat or mean, whether it be wood therein or not. And be ye of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first fruit grapes.
Hello. All right. So let's go ahead and move into our choir here real quick. And we're going to sort it out here. Set this up.
Rasta will rap.
out the seats here, folks. We'll be starting her up in a second.
Mic check, mic check.
That's fine. The screen. How'd it go?
Yeah. Did you need me? You need me?
Yeah.
Huh?
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say what? What color is it?
No, we don't have it.
No, I don't have a color. It says D1.
All right. Let's keep going. Okay, you ready?
Good. So you're already live.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead into the class here. So let's focus here, folks. Make sure we're paying attention. All right, the name of the class is Mark, the Days of Noah and Life Decisions. All right, and we're gonna read the commentary first here. All right. So, it says here, mankind is being destroyed with all manners of perversity, and the days of Noah are a walk in the park in comparison to what has become the norm for the standards of morality in the world today. The mark is a mere enhancement to go along with the course of this sinful world, and most people are ready to receive it, whether they know it or not. What will you do when it hits the scene and is the only way to continue in society? Hey, there's too much talking going on, folks. Let's relax a little bit. All right. Will you stand with the Most High, or will you stand with the devil to feel validated in your flesh? Let's go into the lesson and examine the real problem that may cause our downfall. Let's first go to Matthew 24, 1 through 13. And while we're going there, it's one of those things where we actually were able to go out and do some preaching there, and we went to one of the most bugged out situations you can go to. It was like a 3-ring circus out there, and you realized just instantly that many are already primed and ready for this thing. They're fully buying into the beast system, its confusion, and many are almost just walking bags of skin at this point with demons in them. They're just not even home no more. And the funny thing is, the chip is going to make it worse for them. So this is that last moment for people to figure out what they want to do before it's just too late. I think we said in a lesson before, it's going to be like having a demon with you 24/7 without being able to clean it up, get your act together and get it out of there, basically. So this is your moment. All right? Matthew 24, 1 through 13.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 1. And Yeshua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yeshua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
And it's deep because this is the context of what he was talking about but he mentioned something key here before that, of how the reality is that all of these, even in our society today, these buildings that we taken in times past. Even when we were, the place where we were, in times past, it was nice and, people really wanted to be there. It looks like a trash heap to me. Now, people still caught up because they watched the media for so long that they got to be there taking pictures and, all that hoopla. But the funny thing is that when you really look at it, this is the kind of scriptures you have to remember. Like, all the glorious things of Babylon will be thrown down, right? So the question is, if that's the case, what are we holding on to? I could understand before when we were in a delusional state and didn't understand what was going on, But when you actually come to the realization that, look, all this is going to be gone, what are you holding on to? What are you fighting so hard to you just can't get it out? Why? It doesn't matter how nice it looked. Look, already, before it even, the missiles have hit and all that stuff goes down in prophecy and all that stuff, it already looks bad now. You understand? So the thing is, he was posing that at that time. I'm posing it again to you all today. I don't care what you see in your neighborhoods that you think will never, it's been there for years. Point to whatever it is and just consider this, what Christ just said. He said there will not be one that will not be thrown down. Keep that in mind. So we're going to continue on. We're going to go into some of the things that he said about the end times. Read that, please.
And Josiah answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
All right, I'm going to read this next one here. The hardest part of this work is dealing with those who are still struggling with strong demons that have not been cast out. It can lead a person to walk in a delusional path in which they refuse to see their shortcomings and repent of their deeds. Most times they become agents for the devil and fight against those bringing the truth and really are in the same spirit as those who will have the mark. Love has waxed cold because of sin, and many are offended because the devil has many strongholds within people who refuse to let them go. And that comment is because we have to realize, brothers and sisters, we're our own worst enemies. A lot of times we don't like the truth. You understand? And it's been a curse upon our people. It's hard to tell us anything unless we're bringing it. Right? And it's a shame because these things are going to come to pass. But the question is, where will your love be and your faith be in that day? Will you be on the side of things where, because you haven't fully let go of the way society says you should be in your own struggles with that, will you actually be on that side where you say, you know what, I hear what you're saying, but that chip looking awfully good right now. You understand? Because it's convenient for my behavior that I want to uphold. And like I said, we were out there with some bugged out situations, and you realize, look, why is it such a stretch of imagination if we're already taking substances that are actually destroying ourselves, right? That we would just take a little small microchip. As a matter of fact, they broadcast it. If you haven't noticed, they say, oh, it's the size of a grain of rice. They said it on purpose to make it feel it's harmless. It's just the size of a grain of rice. Why wouldn't we take it? We're already taking all kinds of things to destroy ourselves. Every bit of your sin that you deal with is destructive in some way. You just don't understand it. A lot of times you're shortening your own life and you don't understand it. The things you feel in your body that tell you don't do this and that, that's actually your body going through a certain process it shouldn't be going through to tell you that. So understand that in these last days, these strongholds that you have with demons in your body will become a weapon against those of truth if you don't deal with it. That's just what it is. And if you know anything about, when I say strongholds, just imagine a military garrison you had back in the day, where you got a fortress, you got a fort set up, you got a fence and everything, and you're ready to fight anybody that comes up to this thing. That's what it's like dealing with a person that doesn't want to let go of sin. So that time is coming again. Let's go to Revelation 13 and 15 through 18. He said, the love of many shall wax cold. All right? And he made it clear why. That's sin. So we must address that. A lot of us told themselves, now it wouldn't be me. I wouldn't sell out, but you're selling out now if you're still sinning. You're choosing a side. All right? Read that, please.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
All right, and this is a number being openly used in all of your telephone numbers, different things. You can see it all over the place. Okay, sometimes they may try to pass it off as, I don't know, stuff like 667. That's the same thing. All right. They just don't, it knows the average person doesn't understand the code there, but it's the same thing. All right. The world powers, this is coming, have united people of the world through perversion, and the people soon will support the cause of destroying those that stand with the Most High. This was done through many societies in the past. All that was needed was widespread sin and perversity to be legalized. Pedophilia was big in ancient Rome at the height of its strength. And no one came together to defend those who were in Christ at that time, who opposed the wicked ways of Rome. Be not deceived. Ye must and will choose a side. All right? Now let's go to 2 Ezra 16, 65 through 76. And this is just another little tidbit to when we're out there. There's a guy that comes up to us, and he's asking us to move down the block because we're hurting his business, and he'll pay us. He'll pay us to move. We were in prime real estate right there. He said he's going to pay us. We ain't taking no donations. What are you talking about? Right? But he's going to pay us. But check out what he had going on. He literally had a person who's holding the signs to his business that has a big old Baphomet on the back of his shirt. Big, straight Satanist, open Satanist. He's saying we're hurting his business. Right? So, the point I'm getting at is, people are choosing a side, man. Here it is, we saying we didn't pull anybody out and point them out and try to degrade them or anything. None of that. But somehow we were ruining his business. And all he was, check it out, his business was selling t-shirts and like tourist hats or something. I mean, it wasn't even that deep. You understand? But the whole thing is, the love of many shall wax cold because of their own foolishness. All right? But this is the world we're in today. The world, just down the block, you had a dude dressed up like Michael Jackson, spinning around and with ankle socks on, and we the problem, right? I guess we should be down the street shucking and jiving for a couple nickels, and then they feel good. Yeah, that's cool right there. That's good for my business. I mean, there was all kinds of crazies out there. Yeah, Spider-Man dude was hanging from the pole taking pictures. You're a grown man. Grown man. So it was bugged out, man. But hey, people choose sin first. All right. So let's turn there. Let's read a little bit of this. 2 Ezra 16 in your Apocrypha, 65 through 76.
2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 65. And when your sins are brought forth, ye shall be ashamed before men, and your own sins shall be your accusers in that day. What will ye do, or how will ye hide your sins before the Most High and his angels? Behold, the Most High himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off from your sins and forget your iniquities. To meddle no more with them forever. So shall the Most High lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot.
All right, and if we think this is possible, this has already happened to us in history. We have that also in the Apocrypha, the record of that, how they were forcing us to eat pork and so forth when the Persians were dealing with certain situations back then. You have to realize this is not that far-fetched. The whole process with all these religions really is to bring them all under Satan. So when the time comes, when it's just the right time, there's going to be a lot of people against those that are about the truth, man. And you're going to have to choose to sell out or actually stand firm and finish this thing like those, like I said, you can read about in the Apocrypha who actually went through that thing and actually finished. You understand? But let's continue on. Let's read that.
Verse 70. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Most High. They shall be like mad men, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Most High. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire.
All right, so that's when it's really going to be seeing who's really here for the right reasons. Okay? When they take everything from you, we'll see the mentalities. That's what they have to realize. This is still not that dry tree. We're actually in a fruitful tree right now, believe it or not. I know it don't seem like it, but imagine when they take everything. Imagine when they take everything. Then you're going to see the real characters come out. It says, look, then shall be known who are my chosen. Okay, read that.
Hear ye, my beloved, saith the Most High. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for the Most High is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Most High, thy power. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves.
And they say we shouldn't keep the law. We shouldn't deal with the commandments. And he's saying that he's a guide to those that keep his commandments and precepts. So where will everyone else be then? In darkness. They'll be reaching around trying to figure their way. What's going on here? Right? They didn't tell me about this, that was going to happen, this kind of thing. I thought I was going to just disappear and be just fine. Yeah, you bought into the lies. If Christ went through these things, you must go through these things also. You don't get a kingdom that's eternal, and you don't have to earn it, folks. Faith without works is dead. We've been lied to. But today, you're getting truth. And guess what? Until this thing is done, we're going to keep telling you the truth because you need it. The law is the truth. Commandments. Understanding the ways of the Most High are going to be what matters in these last days. Because yes, it's about Christ. But Christ was preparing you for something in the future that you're going to have to be able to deal with. Grace runs out. You can't use grace for years on end and think that you can keep doing the same evil things you've done. you must eventually be held accountable. All right? 2 Thessalonians 2, 10 through 14. And let's make it clear, it wasn't that chip that led, these people to do what they're doing. When you read that prophecy, it's not going to be just a chip. That's just something to enhance the thing. What led them to that point was their own wickedness and being able to figure a way to sustain it. In 70 AD, for those that don't know about this history, they had gangs running around, and they trapped us in, for example, in Masada. Had the Romans just standing all around us, compassing us, just like they're setting up walls and stuff like that. And what happened? The gangs came and started robbing people when the food got low and everything. Started taking people's goods. And they were so perverse, just like today, getting even worse. You had dudes out here who were stealing jewelry from women and wearing their clothes and everything. It was out of there. So understand that kind of craziness will come again. And they didn't have a chip. That's what you got to think about. They didn't have a chip and they were doing. They were cutting people open just to see if they could find gold, if someone had swallowed gold. So that's what the question is, where will you be in that evil day? Will you be one of them? Will you join forces with the wicked to try to, just survive another day? Or will you choose the truth so that you can actually get through this thing? Because ultimately those people died too. When they were done killing everyone else and tired and famished, the Romans then came in and killed them. They used them for their purpose and got rid of them. All right? Let's read that.
2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 10. And with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. But we are bound to give thanks always to the Most High for you, brethren, beloved of the Most High, because the Most High hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the Spirit and belief of the truth. All right,
so it's by the Most High's will that we got this information. And we have to stay focused on that. Don't get spoiled in this. Realize that for him to give you this information, you have some things you have to do now. Because it took a lot to even get it to you. I mean, just so many instances or occurrences in history had to actually come to pass when they did, just for you to receive the Bible itself. Certain people had to be in rulership. Certain people had to die. Yeah, there's a lot of intricate details to this for you to get the truth in so-called 2019. Okay? That's what you have to take into account. Matthew 24, 35 through 44. You have to take that into account because a lot of times, man, in sin, we just let time pass by and don't reflect on the fact of how much effort was put into you, how much was invested into each and every one of you to get this truth. A lot of you went through hell and back in the world. You said, where's the Most High? Why is all this happening to me? And then he appeared to you. He gave you the understanding. And still we don't think about it like that. How much had to happen, detail-wise, just for you to receive it? You may have walked left and just happened to walk right one day, and you run into somebody who's talking about the Most High. Look, this is not by chance. He's calling us all to accountability now. And then also, we definitely should be appreciative of him looking to deliver us from what's about to go down. I tell you one thing, on the other side of things we will be. When you see this thing in smoke, when that World War III hit, you're going to be on the outside. You can be crying for your people, but you're also going to be crying because you realize you could have been there. So it's time to really reflect on that, man. Because it's about, like we said in the title here, life decisions. How do you want to finish now that you've been given everything? All right? Read that, please.
24.
Yeah.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 35. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Whereas in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage till the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
All right. So, again, I got to go back to what we saw, man. They were partying out there, boy. Crazy music, big old sign with, weird images they had no business flashing all over the place, and people just bugged out on who knows what kind of drugs. We've got super drugs these days. You could take one thing and be vaporized. It's just some crazy stuff out here. They were doing all that. And here it is, Noah, he was there to prophesy for years and years. And they took it lightly until that water hit. Then, then it was serious. Their stomach probably dropped to their feet once that happened. But it was too late at that point, right? Partying, just eating and drinking, marrying, I could literally write my own verse there. They're taking pictures by stars and, what else was going on, man? It was people just laid out, man. I saw the whole cast of X-Men or something out there, some DC comics. It was so many demons, you couldn't figure out which way to go on that street. But the bottom line is this. The bottom line is, again, it's about your life decisions at this point. You have everything, man. You begged for it, didn't you? A lot of us did. We said, man, is this the world? Man, this is crazy. This can't be the more. This can't be a God that will let me go through all this. He gives you the secret. You call up Iron Man and say, hey, man, let's go to a party, man. Dress up like superheroes tonight, right? And try to tune this out, but it's still there. You can't escape it. Once you get the truth, you're never the same. You may try to be, but that's what makes your problem even worse now, because you got to drown out the truth now. It's not going anywhere. Reality will hit. One way or the other. All right? So let's continue on.
Verse 40. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken, and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not when the hour of the Most High doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would have not suffered his loss to be broken up. Therefore, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think, not the Son of Man cometh.
All right, so you have to also and this is something just common sense eludes you when you're dealing with sin, but there's too many people dying out here not to have a mindset of, I could see Christ tomorrow. Remember, he's at the door, so you're going to have some problems. You can see him tomorrow. Not even just looking into this prophecy of him coming back with that sword. You can see him tomorrow. You understand? So this is the thing. It says, look, two shall be in the field, one is taking the other left. There's going to be some people that get, where I'm from, they call it murked out. They be dead. All right? We're thinking that person that's left is the one that is in a bad situation. No, when you read the Apocrypha, it tells you the person that's left behind will be more blessed. They hijacked the word left behind, or the phrase, for those that are new, and made billions off of it. But the truth is, you want to endure to the end. if it be the Most High's will, through all of this. But it comes by keeping His commandments and putting away your former selves. If you're weak spiritually in that day, it's gonna be a trial upon all of us when it go down. If you're weak spiritually, you will go against what you were supposed to be doing in that time. It doesn't matter what you think about yourself right now, because sin can deceive you. All right? Let's continue on. Let's go down to, we're going to actually jump to the book of Enoch here, just to deal with the time period here. Okay, deal with this little preview or understanding of what was going on before that boat had to roll. Okay? But Noah said, look, you ain't got a ticket. You ain't getting in. So let's check it out. This is Enoch 6. Book of Enoch. It's referenced also in the Bible. But they, once again, really don't want you to be in the know of what happened or what is going to happen as well. All right? Enoch 6, 1 through 5.
Enoch chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said one to another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget us children. And so,
and that was one of the key things why when people ask, well, why did he say keep your head when he was talking about head covering and stuff? Because of the angels, because of these situations. It's not just about a head covering. It was about actually a certain situation that went down in history. Okay? And the whole deal is, in this world today, I mean, man, because I have to keep going back to this what we saw out there, man. Lust is bugged out. Okay? And everybody's looking for attention. When if you're professing godliness, as the scriptures say, you should try to be as best as possible invisible. I mean, there's people out there, man. It was even Wonder Woman was out there. Well, y'all know how Wonder Woman dressed, right? Okay. So everybody wants attention these days. If you're a follower of Christ, that shouldn't be you. This is what it is. That's the truth. You're probably not going to get that many places. Try to be unnoticed if you want to make it into the kingdom. All right? Let's read.
And so Jaza, who was their leader, said unto them, I fear ye will not indeed agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and all bind ourselves by natural imprecations, not to abandon this plan, but to do this thing. Then swear they all together, and bound themselves by mutual imprecations upon it. And they were in all 200 who descended into
5. You just took 5. Then 7. We're going to jump down to 7. Then 1 through 6.
verse.
Just jump down to 7.
Chapter 7, verse 1. And all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go in unto them, and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cuttings of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 300 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, to devour one another's flesh and to drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusations against the lawless ones.
And that's the time we're in today, where there's so much perversion that there's no limits to what a person may do. That's just the reality. That's why I get it, man, when when some people, I may have to come down on them or whatever, but they got a heavy spirit or something, and I give them the opportunity to be straight about what they're struggling with. Unfortunately, a lot of times we don't want to be, but I get it. We're not going to go into that part of the lesson today, but I'm just going to touch on it briefly. when it says these giants and how they had this insatiable appetite, those are the same, when they died, they became the demons of the earth. So they're messing with you every day. And the more you link into them as opposed to the Most High, the worse your appetites get. The worse your distortion of reality gets. Things that shouldn't be okay are okay now in your mind. You're being deceived. You have to back up off of this and see the truth for what it is. You're either serving the Most High or you're serving Satan, because the demons belong to him too. They're under his authority on this earth. They do his little bidding and run around. All right? Let's jump down to chapter 8, verse 1, to go into more of what these people were doing at that time under the free tips that they were getting from the fallen angels here. 1 through 2.
Chapter 8, verse 1. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony and beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. And some Jaza taught them enchantments, and root cuttings, and resolving of enchantments, taught astrology and constellations, the knowledge of the clouds, the signs of the earth, the signs of the sun, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. All
right, so the whole thing is they were teaching a lot of things, the weapons. You notice now that there's more and more weapons coming out that they're putting in the mainstream. Yeah, we got this going on, that as if this stuff, they knew about this stuff years ago, folks. But they put it out in certain increments of time so that you don't question, wait a minute, how do we go from barely knowing how to, crank a car up at one point to all this stuff? What's going on with space antimatter weapons? Where'd that come from? 100 years ago, we were just figuring out how to fly a plane. Right? So they do it in increments. But the point is, they've had this sorcery for years. Then they went into teaching, for example, their women that they were with, the art of seduction. Beautifying of eyelids and all kinds of costly stones. Just decking yourself out to appear something you're not, quite frankly. To seduce. Witchcraft. Another thing that we have to question when we come into the truth. Are we still living that kind of life? Because that's where it came from. All right? Now, let's just go to some other points here. And one key one that stands out, it said the knowledge of the clouds. And we understood that, we mentioned that too. They have what's called cloud seeding, and nobody's checking into this for some reason, in which they actually make it rain. Literally. It's easy. Google it. It's the easiest thing to find. They even offer their services to different countries. So we think that just means they know how the weather's, what's going on with the weather. But they literally can make clouds now. There's been several people, even we had people here, it was Sister Adar, right? Had a picture of them producing clouds and starting to shoot them into the air. This is the reason why you have certain hurricanes that happen where people can't figure out where the hurricane is, but it just won't stop raining. We're in those days. Let's go to Ezekiel 33, 30 through 33. So Ezekiel 33 and 30. All right. But we're in the last days. What more, it said Jacob seeketh after a sign. Which one would you like? What's going to stop you from sinning? I mean, I'm trying to figure out what exactly will be the sign where our people just repent of their mess and stop. So there's just instant, okay, tomorrow we just good. Because we could go all day with signs of why we should change. But the scriptures tell you what? If you're a sinful person, you will not be reproved, but you will find an excuse according to your will. Whatever, if you don't want to change, you're going to find an excuse. You're going to find an offense. You're going to try to convince other people that your offense is right. That's usually the way it works. But all in all, you will fall. It doesn't matter. All the talk and the things of, I'm on point, I'm doing with this and that, you're still going to fall. All right? Read that, please.
Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 30. Also, thou son of man, the children of thy people still are talking against thee by the walls and in the doors of the houses, and speak one to another, every one to his brother, saying, Come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that cometh forth from the Most High. And they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as a people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness. And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that hath a pleasant voice, and can play well on an instrument. For they hear thy words, but they do them not. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them.
And let me tell you, that's something even we have to reflect on ourselves about, man, in the church. Elders will tell you, hey, look, this is what we need done. We got to do this in the spirit of the Most High to grow the work, and people still do what they want to do, man. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Oh, praise the Most High, that's a good idea. Yeah. And still do what they want to do. That's why I said, look, when it's all said and done, I'm going to go into something too here, though, while we're at it. Because it said, the children of thy people are talking against thee by the walls and in the doors of the houses, and speak one to another, everyone to his brother, saying, Come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that cometh forth from the Most High. A lot of us come out of, the Christian church. And, there was a lot of great things that, camaraderie and things that were there. So there's no shot against that. But it's funny because the one thing about our people is we're the loudest when it comes to praising the Most High. We're the loudest. But a lot of us, our hearts aren't in it. And I was just going to bring out a little bullet point here. Probably going to slide this to Elder Ricard so he can deal with it. But we were, we had what was it? We've done a lesson here. I think this lesson was probably put together Thursday. And by the day, I'll get something here that's really kind of on the same lines from, Sister Lisa there, and actually Sister Laura told me about it also. But the thing is, I got to get your Hebrew name there. I'm butchering that. I'm sorry about that. But I'm going to read what the title of it is, and then you're going to see what we're talking about. It says spiritual awareness, right? And it says challenge to the Christian faith, right? So it says spiritual awareness, a challenge to the Christian faith, right? Can you see it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me know when you got it. Okay. All right, so what is this about? Man, it sounds good. Sounds like it's got a nice little shield on it. Sounds like it's about to go in and free some demons, right? Sounds good. But guess what's on the inside? Black Hebrew Israelite doctrines. Right? Goes into history. Starts talking about some old groups that were out there that aren't even in existence anymore. Ethnic identity. And then it proceeds to talk about scriptures that we go to show who we are as a people. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I thought I was following Christ. The challenge to the Christian faith. So we're against Christ. This is what's going on while we're trying to wake our people up so they get into this kingdom. Our people talk a good game, man. And that's the point I want to make. We talk a good game, but we're not with the Most High. And whenever it's convenient, when it hits our pockets and we know, wait a minute, these people ain't, man, they start to ask questions, they're not around no more. We will stab you in the back in a second, knowing we're teaching lies. Knowing we ain't reading that Bible like we should. So they go into trying to break down some scripture. This horrible, this brutally jacked up. I mean, I'm surprised, this was even wasted as far as the paperwork here. I mean, this ink is valuable. I wouldn't waste it on this. They could have made a receipt or something, or, what, a grocery list or something. It'd have been used better. But the point is, they went into this stuff, and it's like, you went through all this when we're telling our people that you're actually chosen by the Most High to lead the earth. What's wrong with us that we're so backwards to sit here and attack our own like this? And then, again, butchering the Most High scriptures. I mean, let me see which this was. Let me get to the funny part about it when it's all said and done. Let's see which side people were, who was joining together as their source, or they were putting together as their sources here. Study material and resources. You got Barack Obama versus the Hebrew Israelites. Introduction to history. This is the sources. This is their references. This is scholarly references here. Yeah. Beliefs of One West Hebrew Israelism by Vocab Malone. Now, if you remember Vocab Malone, folks, we already had him on the radio shows, dealt with him on many occasions. He's clearly a plant that at first seemed like he was down with Israelites. Right? But then he started coming after these guys, trying to find a way to disprove that we're the people. So these are the kind of sources on here. You even got James White, that dude, website on here, as actual people that should be authorities on are we the people. So the whole thing is, man, we're in the last times, and people are drawing their lines. And a lot of people, it's just about preserving a buck. And it's actually, to me, I mean, it's sickening. At this point, we need every pastor we can get on board to wake our people up. Not doing mess like this. Your silliness is not going to make a difference. Your special meetings, it's not going to make a difference. We have to put down sin. And this is the thing. What is so wrong with teaching a lawless people they need law anyway? Are we I mean, isn't that what's been destroying us for forever? When you go in our neighborhoods, that's the first thing you notice. Man, is there any rules up in here? What's up with these people? Everybody's acting like children up in here. Grown men on 50 years old on a bike trying to sling some dope. He's just all over. And we're in LA, so he's got the high handles, and he's 50 years old. That's our neighborhoods, man. The bike may change, but it's the same foolishness in every ghetto all over the earth. We are the people, man. And guess what? With hundreds of these places set up, we still the same. If this is the way, shouldn't it have changed us by now? But again, we trust in oppression when it comes to our people. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 6, 3 through 6. And I said this earlier, I thought about this too. How come they didn't have this class when Islam came in our neighborhoods? What about Buddhism? Where was the pamphlet talking about challenge to the Christian faith? Because they weren't the truth. Do people walk up to the Muslims and say, well, man wrote that book? The only book on the planet that people make this silly enough statement, oh, man wrote that book, is the Bible. Yeah, what's people saying when the purpose-driven life come out? Oh, hold on, the man wrote that. It's only one book that even gets people scared like that. Yeah, of course. Let's read that.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 3. If a man begat 100 children and live many years, so that the days of his years be many, and his soul be not filled with good, and also that he have no burial, I say that an untimely birth is better than he. For he cometh in with vanity and departeth in darkness, and his name shall be covered with darkness. Moreover, he hath not seen the sun, nor known anything. This hath more rest than the other. Yea, though he lived 1,000 years, twice told, yet hath he seen no good. Do not all go to one place?
Right. So at the end of all that confusion, no matter how good you had in this world, you're still going to go to the same place. Same location. You'll be right next door to somebody. He wasn't even living on, he barely living. He was living on the corner or whatever. You rich and you sitting here right here with the same person you detested, poor. And y'all both being tormented because of your own whatever status you on, your own foolishness. So that's the whole thing, man. And I was thinking about this too. Like the reality is this: with this still comes press. Some people are actually going to check out the movement just because they said something. So Christ was still done in the same thing. See, that's how the adversary, he'll try to, badmouth you. And there's actually people that have already testified they came to the truth because they tried to do that. Well, the pastor mentioned it, so I decided to look into it. They don't get it. Revelations 14, 9 through 11. This is the whole deal, brothers and sisters. When it comes to the Holy Spirit, if it's for you, it's for you. If it's for you, it's for you. It won't matter what press comes up. It won't matter what kind of scandals they try to cook up to shake other people's faith. You'll still do what you have to do. It's that simple. Read. 14.
Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Verse 11. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest, day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name.
All right. I'm going to read this here. The chip is a free ticket to hell in conclusion. You take it and you will be judged by the Most High. You cannot compromise even in the face of death. It is by the Father that we live or die, and we must get that through our heads. His will for your life is what matters. Not food, not drugs, not perversity, which shall be used as motivations for those who would otherwise reject the mark. And that's what you have to understand. You can't compromise yourself with this, folks. It says, look, it is by the Father that we live or die, and we must get that through our heads. Once we finally get that through our heads, we become a real threat. Because death can no longer be used to keep you prisoner. A lot of people's mindsets and why they do stuff like this besides monetary things is because they were afraid of actually the repercussions of actually standing for something. Well, if we rise up too far, they're going to hit us on the head. They're going to chop our feet. Remember in slavery, they chop your feet? This is the way we think. With every one of those movements before, they weren't standing with the Most High. They had their own thing going on. That's why it didn't work. And it wasn't time. We know it's time now. You should be bold in that. Understand that those signs that the Most High said were going down, guess what? They've gone down and are going down every day. It's time. Why shackle yourself with fear? Why waste your energy doing things like this instead of actually inheriting the kingdom? I guess that's what it's about, You have to decide if you want this to be your kingdom, this world, or the next, the one to come. All right? Let's jump down to John John, book of John, Gospel, 8:31 through 34. We got a couple more there. All right, read that, please.
John chapter 8, verse 31. Then said Yeshua to those Jews which believed on him, If ye continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him, We be Abraham's seed, and we never and were never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou, ye shall be made free? Yeshua answered them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin.
All right. So if you're a servant of sin, you're going to stand with the God of sin, which means you're taking that chip. And the whole thing is, it says here, the only way to break free of that plantation is to keep the commandments of the Christ and the Most High. Not with a compromised walk, but with one in which you completely walk away from the former evils that you upheld. Everything that you did over the course of your life that you knew conscience-wise it was off, you have to now put it away. You can't skirt any. You cannot play with these things, folks, until the last second, and think you'll be just fine. You know what? Maybe when Babylon's gone, I'll wake up. No. Yeah, it was gonna be too late if you're on this thing. But the point is, you have to choose today. All right. Let's see. Deuteronomy 11, 13 through 16. Then we got one more there to wrap it up. I should see here. Might skip that one. Yeah, let's jump to Ezekiel 9, 4 through 6. Ezekiel 9, 4 through 6.
Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. And the Most High said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And to the others he said, In mine hearing, go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women, but come not near any man whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house.
All right, so there's actually a mark that the Most High is putting us with the Holy Spirit, as opposed to Satan's mark, which is through technology. Everything he has to bootleg, he can't, it's not spiritual stuff. He has to put physical things for you. All right? But the thing is, it says, slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. That means begin at my people. Begin at my priests. Those who were supposed to be standing as that gatekeeper to help people to be, safe in times of trouble. Right? Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. So they're going to pay, folks. We put it out there before. Elder McCall had a lesson a long time ago about the red list, the blue list, the yellow list. When everything break out, they're going to go after the outspoken speakers first, then those that follow, then the ones, the other ones that kind of expendable. Maybe they'll take a chip or two, but ultimately there's going to be too many of them, so they're going to have to kill them off too. So it's going to start with the leaders. But the question is, am I supposed to be afraid in these last days, or should I do what the Most High said? Right. A lot of them are afraid, man. I'm just going to tell you the truth. They see what this is going to be. If they check it out. If they're studying us, they're hearing about judgment. They're hearing about what's going to happen to this place, right? So they know what it's going to be, and they're choosing a side. They're selling out. And it's going to have to die anyway. Especially if you're one of us, because that means that potentially in the future, you may have a child that rises up against what's going on. So they're going to have to take you out anyway. So selling out is stupid anyway. It doesn't even make sense. If you're paying attention to our studying and what we're saying we are, doesn't that mean selling out is not an option? You're done. When it's time to cash out and get out of space, Farrakhan, all them guys, they're done too. Even though they've been playing a good little role for them. They're done. Al Sharpton and all of they're going to put them away. And use whoever's where they never need to be, shucking jobbing over there. All right? Okay. So, let's continue on. Let's go to Revelations 7:1-4. And, it is what it is. The Most High sent the truth at the very end so that the people can also see the difference. Because even in this, he tried to lump us all together. All this talk, and you should distinguish, look, if you're going to put together this, because a person may go home and read this. It should have a big old warning, like, warning, all Israelite groups are not created equal. Please do not make that assumption. Right? But that wasn't the intent. They were doing, what were they doing any different than what the media did with those brothers that were over in Washington that were upset at whatever was going on there and were saying, some things that they could use. They lumped us all together. As if Christ was the same as the Pharisees and scribes, right? Was he the same? No. Was his movement the same? No. All right? Let's continue. Let's read.
Revelation chapter 7, verse 1. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor the sea, nor any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of our living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
All right, so the 144,000, which Revelations, when you break it down and understand, it tells you that these were men. And the whole deal is, before the destruction would come to all the things that were mentioned, they would be sealed. Meaning they would be in the earth. That time is now. So, what more should we do? Last scripture, let's go to Deuteronomy 10:12-17. And while we're going there, I'll give you another one. Sirach 1:29, which says, be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest. Sirach 1:29. We have to all live by example. It's too late for anything else. Clean it up. Whatever your problem is, clean it up. Don't wait for me to tell you you know what it is. Clean it up. All right? Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. And now Israel, what doth the Most High thy power requireth of thee, but to fear the Most High thy power, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Most High thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Most High and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Most High thy power, the earth also with all that therein is. Only the Most High had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. For the Most High your power is the Most High of powers, and the Lord of lords, and a great and mighty, and a great power, a mighty and terrible, which regardeth not persons, nor taketh reward. He doth execute judgment.
That's it. All right, so even in the Old Testament, the same concept, which was, reiterated by Paul in the New, it was about putting these laws on your inward parts. Not getting caught up in the external things, how, fringes and all that. That's great, no. But when are we going to put these things on the internal part? Start understanding it, start living this from day to day. If you walking unholy 6 days a week, what difference is it going to make if you show up for the Sabbath posing as if you're doing something right? You still going to the same place as every other person. All the people that oppress us, you will be side by side with them being tortured. So in the end, the conclusion of all things is this. It says, and now Israel, what the Most High requires thee, but to fear the Most High thy power, to walk in all his ways, and to love him and to serve him with all thy heart and with all thy soul. That's the key part of this. You must do that in order to make it. And hey, it's funny. It's so simple. It's complicated for people. It's so simple. I bet people, man, shouldn't I get? Isn't there like some special rocks or something I can get for I'm dealing with these certain spirits and things. Isn't there a rock I need? No. That's what the witches do. Your job is just to stop sinning. Stop looking at stuff you got no business just throwing your mind off. It's simple. All right? So with that being said, we're going to go into our questions here. But brothers and sisters, we got to start making better life decisions. How do you want to finish? You understand? All right, so let's see. Got the mic working there. Testing. Yeah. You want to go? Yeah. Any questions there?
Justin. How you doing, Elder?
Good. I'm sorry. Where's that?
Right here.
Raise the hand. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking for a raised hand. Yes, sir.
I got a question. And a comment. When it said that in the last days, those that's left behind to be more blessed, there will be also those that's in the truth that would be as well, be murderers and things of that nature as well, right? That'll be pretty much killed as well, right?
Right.
Okay. And my other question, not question, but with that pamphlet you had, I think a lot of that has to deal with, because I come across it with people that see me with the fringes and things. And like I had this one brother, he came to me, I was on the elevator, and he was with a white girl, and he turned around and asked me, he said, so what do you think about Edomites? Right. So I think when some of these people that's looking into the Israelite, what they call movement, they get the impression from these other camps that portray that the Edomite is the devil and they all going to hell and all these particular things. So they use that stigma and put it against all brothers and sisters that's in this truth.
Right, but see, that shows you that the Holy Spirit was also dealing with us when we started this church. Because when we first went out on the streets, all we had on was all white, and we were telling the brothers, because of the way they're operating, they're going to associate us all with that confusion and come against us just because of that. Right. So we were separating ourselves from the beginning so they could hear the message and understand there's a difference. So that's the whole thing. And we were operating in grace. People don't understand grace, man. Sometimes you have to use grace. Paul said, I became all things to all men so I could gain a few. He was going into places where people were in Gentile mind states, and he may have to do certain things that they wouldn't understand if he was in lands full of people that were 100% understood the law. So the whole thing is, we foresaw this, and it's definitely the Holy Spirit. So a lot of times you go out there, yeah, it's going to be somebody, they might just see you dressed like that and feel like they got a problem with you because somebody called them the devil or somewhere, or got on, whatever, insulted them in some way, cursed at them, and they think everybody just thinks like that. So we knew that a long time ago. Matter of fact, we put out a public announcement to the Israelite groups. Look, understand what you're doing is going to have its repercussions down the line. They're going to use you to be the face of the movement so that a lot of truth doesn't even get to our own people of a certain demographic. We ain't going to just sit there and be wanting to curse at people all day. So the whole deal is, it came to pass. If you're a fisher, you got to know how to fish everybody. You can't, all kinds of, you don't just sit there and just, I'm only dealing with a few bass here. You have different ways to do things. That's the difference about this movement. Christ said he will make us fishers of men. Not certain men, not profane men, men that like to disrespect people. He said all men, fishers of men. So that's the difference. If you want to walk in Christ, you have to elevate your mindset, because that's what happens. That kind of aggression. When you ain't know this guy from a hole in the wall, and he's all he's seeing is some guy that probably cursed him out somewhere and made fun of his clothes. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I always wondered, why do we take a long time to go out on the street, but now I see it clear. It's because now that us going out doing the street preaching, we're setting the tone, the correction of those that's out there that's not teaching the doctrine correctly. And to say that, I say this, that like my mother, she lives in LA, and she had texted me one day and she said, "What religion are you?" And I never understood what she meant by that. And the Most High showed me like months later, because she lived in LA, and the Spirit came to me and told me that she was seeing the IUIC and all the other ones there teaching the hatred. So I had to tell her that we're not affiliated with them, that we teach the truth in Christ. And then she was like, "Oh, okay." So she was under the impression as well. So I think a lot of the Christians, not all, but most of them, when they hear about this particular movement, that's what they see, and that's what the media use to demonize the whole movement. Right. So I think that, thank the Most High, that we out there and putting correction and bringing the truth that's supposed to be through Christ.
Well, here's the thing, and this is what we try to address with people. You have to do things decently in order. Everybody just wants to jump to the street preaching because they saw it on YouTube and say, "That's the work." Okay, now that I street preach to everyone, where do I send them if I don't have the other stuff set up? Now what? Do we just have hundreds of people just sitting there watching us on the street preaching in the corner? We ain't going to be there long. So everything has to be done decently in order. And when you do it decently in order, then eventually when you get out there, the people realize you're different. Ask anybody who was out there. There was people out there like, "Yo, these guys are different." Just one time. Just out there one time and they notice the difference. So that's the point. We're supposed to be different. We're not just a bunch of young boys who just look at each other and say, "Hey, let's go out here and curse white people out." It's foolishness. Well, them brothers ain't doing the work. They ain't telling the white man he's the devil. That's actually part of the doctrine. They tell you, if you're not telling the white man his judgment and all that, you ain't doing the work. What scripture is that? Where did Christ say that? I must have missed that one. I could get a bit of Bible searcher or something. So that's the difference, man. And in these last days, yes, it's going to get very unfashionable to be us. But guess what, brothers and sisters? We must still stick to this truth. Regardless of our people that don't quite get it yet. Some of them will get it. Don't worry. They'll be popping right up in here very soon. So I'm not counting them out either. Yes, sir. We have one right here in the center here. Where's the mic? Oh, she got the mic there. I'm sorry, buddy.
So this is for clarification in regards to Matthew 24. I had someone who is developing me and questioned my beliefs. And they referred me to Matthew 24. And they said, have I ever heard of the faithful servant? And so I was looking through the scripture and I was like, okay, I've been to that scripture and I read about, for many shall come in my name saying, I am Christ, will be deceived. So when you go back down to Matthew 24:14, when it's referring to witnesses, does it mean witnessing what it says in this particular scripture or just the gospel as a whole?
Got it. No, that's not talking about a person. It says, look, check it out. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. The gospel is talking about this. Man, let me tell you something, sister. You're in the right place. They can't even read over there. Well, how is that talking about? You understand what, do you get it now?
I got it.
They can't even read over there. Because why? Religion has them so sucked in that common sense is out the window. They don't say that at all. So, hey, Most High willing, she'll be able to come out of that. But man, they got those people under witchcraft. And a lot of their town halls, they don't even have lights coming in. And they literally got like a blacking situation going on. Man, that thing is off, man. All right, let's see. Good question, though. But make it clear, the two witnesses in Revelation, and we'll go to a breakdown of that again one day. That's actually talking about Judah and Israel. There's no Moses and Elijah trying to pop up to do no shooting fire in the mouths like you see in the Christian movies and all that. That's not what it's talking about. It's talking about our people that they don't want to talk about. All right? All right. Most High said, we are his witnesses in the last days. And isn't that obvious? Everyone else has had the Bible for years, and they still ain't teaching nothing about the Old Testament and those curses. Isn't it obvious with the people? Who else is witnessing this out here? Yes, sister.
We're living in the days of Noah, correct? And there were giants in the land?
Right.
And there was giants in the land?
Right.
Will those giants reappear in this day and time?
Well, they're going in many forms. Many forms. In other words, remember, demons are the giants of past. So what they do with demons is they have to find bodies for them. That's why they're making clones. That's why they're making robots with AI technology. AI technology is simply, guess what? Demons when they want to use them for such. That's what it's about. That's why they talk about in certain movies, like you had that Will Smith movie he made, where he talked about the ghost in the machine that all of a sudden just makes this robot think differently than all the other robots. He was talking about a demon. Yeah. That's all it was talking about. They were literally dropping to you that, the demons are going to be back. They're going to have them flying through different machines and all that. So that's what it is. Yes, sir.
It was funny that you hit on the cloud seeding, because when you look into it now, they actually offer a service. Like if you're getting married in Hawaii, they can make it clear for you so it doesn't rain if it was supposed to rain, stuff like that. But also, I have the Feast of Tabernacle envelope.
Basically they just moved. Thank you, sir. You're just talking about the envelope for the initial.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If you need an initial payment envelope. But anyway, they sit here, folks, trying to remove the Most High out of the puzzle all together. Hey, you want the clouds to go in? Don't worry. We got something for that. The funny thing is, sometimes they the ones making it rain. No problem. We just want to turn the machine on today. Don't worry. But that shows you how carnal people are. They would rather have full control over everything, playing God and everything, so-called. Right? It's foolishness. But we learned it in increments. Even going to our doctors, we learned that. We stopped worrying about praying to the Most High and started dealing with what is the doctor recommending today. Restless leg syndrome, okay, here's 30 pills. Yeah, this should work. And then you pass out, you wake back up. Yeah, my leg wasn't shaking while I was passed out. I wasn't having a problem with my restless leg when I passed out. But you still had the same old problem. Because it's not of the Most High. All right, we got any other questions there, folks? All right, there we go.
Make a comment
okay.
on what the sister back there was saying about being approached by one of the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Right.
Because I was a Jehovah's Witness for many, many years.
Right.
So I know what they're doing when they take you to the scripture of Matthew 24:14, because they call themselves Jehovah's Witnesses and they use their own Bible, and throughout their Bible it has in there the name Jehovah. Right. So what they're trying to get you to think is that they are the ones that are spreading the gospel and that they are the witnesses of the Most High.
Right.
And that's why they take you to that scripture and try to bring you in to show, to make you think that they're the only ones that have that.
Right. Well, I agree with that. They are Jehovah's Witnesses. I agree with that. But they better repent of that and get away from Jehovah. They better deal with that Most High, the I am. I agree with that. If they wanted to prove that to me, they just say it. I'm like, hey, there you go. I don't need you to go through no precepts with me. I believe you. But what they got to do with the God of this Bible? The power of this Bible. We've been in that mess for years, and we still haven't figured out, even with Google, Yahoo, whatever search engine you can imagine, that this guy was a Satanist. How are we still in that? Shouldn't you research the belief process you're in? He was a Satanist. He was a Mason. Just look up his grave. It's a pyramid. It's a pyramid with flames and stuff on this thing. I mean, what more do you need? But I get the people. I'll say that. A lot of them got tired of the way the world was, and they said, man, I'm going to go someplace where the people are dressed nice and they're talking nice to each other. But that's not enough. You still got to look up these things at the end of the day and decide where you want to finish. All right? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Shalom. It's funny that she brings up the Jehovah Bible, but even so in the Jehovah Bible in Exodus 3:14, it still shows the Most High's name and they don't say Jehovah. But they always try to take you to Isaiah and be like, well, look, Jehovah's right here.
Well, it's what's the difference, though? I mean, if you want to think about it, what's the difference between that and any other Israelite movement out there? So I can't fault them when everybody's doing it, right? Everybody's doing it. Everybody's calling, check it out, everybody's calling on the Tetragrammaton. It's the same Hebrew letters, folks, for those that don't understand the Hebrew yet. It's the same Hebrew letters no matter which way they try to pronounce it. Everybody's calling on Satan. And they do the same tactics pretty much. Here it is, the Most High has one place in the Bible where he literally was asked his name, he gave it, and it's only a few people, a few groups in the earth that are even dealing with it.
Yeah. My question is, when it comes to Yeshaya's doctrine, right, where it speaks about the resurrection, I'm not too sure of what it says. It speaks about like the laying of hands and the resurrection. But one thing that confuses me because that when I look into Luke 16, verse 19 through 31, it speaks about the rich man and Lazarus, and and judgment being done immediately right after death, and being either sent to hell or to the bosom of Abraham.
What was confusion about it?
Is when it comes to the resurrection, because it speaks about that at the end of the day,
right,
judgment will be put upon everybody on the earth. But right here, it speaks about judgment being done unto this rich man instantaneously right after his death, and he's seeing Lazarus from afar, and he's
right, because he deserved it. Now, if you're saying why is in certain cases you resurrect the dead, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like
well, it's simple. Those were followers of Christ. Number one. Number two, they weren't resurrecting them like in the sense of they were just dead for years and stuff like that. Christ did. Now, when Christ died, remember that was for a sign. People actually came out of the graves to go tell their family, "Look, this is real." So that's a whole different thing. But there were examples like in Acts where one boy, Paul was talking so long that one boy fell asleep and fell out the window. And he was, everybody thought he was dead. And Paul went down and kind of, did whatever, prayed for him, and the boy came back to life. So that's different. You understand? But ultimately, he didn't die to the point where his spirit was dragged to hell. The rich man.
Also, it's basically speaking of resurrection, like being able to resurrect somebody, like
right,
let's just say they're on their deathbed, they die,
right,
and you wake them back up.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But it's just not a random. It's not a. I mean, it's not a thing where you can just automatically do it. Like in other words, every person you see them about to die, and they just start hopping up. That's not how it works. It's got to be in the Most High's will. Everything you pray has to be in the Most High's will. It's just what it is. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Good question. Yes, sir.
So you mentioned earlier how you had a pamphlet, and we get lumped together with other groups.
Yes.
And it's funny to me how we quickly get lumped together as groups, but one of the things we are not allowed to do is do the same to them. Because when we start talking about, well, your people did these things to us. You're like, well, I didn't do those things to you. Well, but you can quickly lump us, but you don't lump yourselves.
I'm going to show a hypocrisy there too, though. We do that same thing.
Of course.
We don't all want to be called drug dealers, do we?
Right.
So that's people in general. That's why the Bible tells you when it comes to First Edris, when they were having that whole debate about, when they were having that whole debate when he said, okay, what's the greatest thing? Who's the most powerful thing? There was one point where he goes, look, men are wicked, women are wicked, all the children of men are wicked. So when the person don't want to deal with truth, they're going to find a way to be absolved from whatever it is. Doesn't matter to people. So, and I agree with you though, it is hypocrisy. But hey, the Most High is going to get rid of all hypocrisy. We can't even worry about that.
Right. That's true. Probably us to put out the path.
Yeah.
And the second part of that is one of the things that happens that I see a lot that I've just been weighing on me.
Right.
Is the amount of fear that's just being put out about anything. Everything is based on fear, and that takes me out. I'm always finding myself going back to 2 Timothy 1:7, where I get my strength is understanding that is out of the Most High. So anything that I see that they're putting fear into, I automatically know that's something. So
well, it all depends because sometimes it's psychology. They'll put fear into things on purpose to have people who are into conspiracy theory say, oh, that must be it, because they said that. So it all depends. It still has to be lined up with Scripture. That's how you weigh out that matter so that you don't get caught up. Because they will pull that too. Understanding that there's people that don't trust government, don't trust certain belief systems and things, they'll do that too. You know? Yeah, we good? Anybody else? Okay. Yes, sir. What's up? No, we cut it. Yeah, we good. Let somebody type. Anybody, can you see the chat there? Anybody type a question?
No, the question is, this thing is frozen because it's having an issue right now. But other than that,
okay, we can cut it there. All right. Shalom to everyone watching at home and Colorado there. And we're going to go ahead and cut her now.